get things straightened up there.
Okay,
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it again.
No problem.
Now it's the portion of our agenda with audience participation. Amy, do we have anybody who's signed up?
Ms. Mazzola?
Hi, my name is Sue Mazzola. I live at 3440 Boston Road, Brunswick. Actually, what I planned on saying kind of got deterred with what I just heard, a few things. One, I wish I was at that meeting with your sales because that mall is going downhill quick. It's not going to be there. Walk in there. The stores are closing. Nobody is there. Then you talk about Section 1B. Your council will direct that. What about Brunswick's?
It's a study, and we're paying for it, not Brunswick.
And that's
Ma'am,
ironic, too.
Brunswick isn't paying for it.
Okay, yeah, I know. They never had the opportunity to even do that. Now, another thing, Patton, who said 43% of your traffic problems is Brunswick. Howe Road's busyness is Brunswick residents. Well, Howe Road is closed. Your interchange is still backed up with traffic going west. Brunswick residents that might still be getting off are gonna go east. So how does that explain? What that was just a poor excuse for your poor planning and greed, is what it was.
Ma'am,
Now-
it's not greed, and
Yes.
it's not poor planning. Your
Okay.
facts are flawed.
Oh,
Once the
really?
facts come, yes, they are.
You
And
don't
once
think
the
Patton-
facts come in, we'll
Wait.
present them to you.
Okay, well, Patton's facts aren't flawed. 44% of your traffic is
I don't
Brunswick.
speak for Patton.
That's a blatant lie, and you know it. Residents taking 15 minutes to get out of Howe Road, blatant lie. So don't talk to me about facts. You're wrong.
Ma'am, whatever you think, God bless you.
Yeah,
Just
God
keep
bless you.
thinking
I
it.
think you're all in your last term. You've lost the respect of your own residents. We have Howe Road residents who are now involved in this. They see their traffic's gonna increase. Then you do say we're gonna get the public to get their feedback. Then what are you gonna do? Go, hey, our hands are tied, it's a law. You got your public feedback on what they wanted in 2021 on Prospect and 82. And there we have it. Townhomes are still being built. I think you're all in your last term, especially you. Your ward, you're not there for them.
Sorry, Botch, I'm sorry, I didn't say that correct.
Ma'am, when you come up, your first, last name, if you could spell the last name and your address, please.
Oh, sure.
And you'll have up to 5 minutes.
Oh, I don't need it. My name is Shari Vash, V as in Victor, A-S-C-H. I live at 19672 Misty Lake Drive in Strongsville. And I can't say much because I have laryngitis, but I just wanted to say that I am opposed to the interchange. Oh, no, that's all I wanted to say. I'm opposed to the interchange. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mary Vance?
Again, for anybody that's going to speak this evening, your first, last name, spell your last name and your address. Up to 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Mary Vance, and it's V-A-N-T-Z, and I live at 78 Duxbury Lane in Brunswick. I want to thank you all for this opportunity. Excuse me. And I obviously am going to echo things and themes that you have already heard in previous meetings, and you're going to probably continue to hear. And I know that sometimes the attention gets elevated, people get excited, people get angry. And that happens anytime someone feels underprivileged or victimized, when they don't feel they have been heard. And I think that's what the sense you're going to continue to hear from Brunswick. We don't feel as though we were included. I was very intrigued by your conversations with your meeting today and all your networking and all the value that can come from that. And we wish that perhaps that would have happened with Brunswick. And I'm not blaming everybody, you know, it's a two-sided sword, if you will. But networking and understanding and communicating, whether it be business, residential, maybe we wouldn't be here tonight with this level of anxiety and, very honestly, the sense of loss. Most of the people on this side of the room are going to either lose their homes, they are going to be minimized in terms, if they don't lose their home, what the value of their home is going to be. And most of these people have worked very, very hard, as we all have, to get where we're at. So that's why there's the emotion and the level of anxiety that we all have. And I would like to ask a question real quick for everybody in the room who has visited the Howe Road, North Carpenter corridor to see the impact of what some of these studies. If you have visited either in a car or on foot, please raise your hand. Okay, some of you have. Those of you that have, I thank you. Those of you who have not, since this is going to be a long process, please take the time to come down and see our neighborhoods. Not only the people in Brunswick, but the people in Strongsville. This isn't Brunswick's problem. This is a shared problem that people are passionate about. And if it happens here, it can happen anywhere. We just are asking for your patience and for your time to allow us to participate in this process and not feel like it's been shoved down our throats. Thank you very much.
Mike Kellum?
Mike Kellums, Kellums, 3450 Boston Road. I was up here one other time. Obviously, I'm opposed to the interchange on Boston Road, but not really here to talk about that. I'm just talking about some observations from coming to the council meetings. Mr. Mayor, you're fired up. I can see it in your face.
First time in a long time, because the facts haven't even been revealed, sir.
I got you.
There's going to be
Okay,
a second study. There's going to be
I
this
hear it, but-
input.
Yeah, I hear it, but let me give you my observations.
Sure, please, go ahead.
I came to a council meeting, one of your residents, a Strongsville resident, who's going to lose their house no matter what happens, if something happens there. Her house is gone. I visited her, never met her before. They have a beautiful house, and they're in their retirement stage of their room. She came up here, she was nervous to talk. A lot of people don't like to talk in public. I'm one of them, but I'm doing pretty well, I think. Anyways, you sat there, you didn't say anything to her. That was my observation. But that's fine, you know, you're letting her speak her piece. There was a gentleman who walked in here. Observation, he had grass stains on his shoes. He was a little disheveled, must have just got done cutting his grass. He bought his RV home. Your city service department was gonna do some road work and was gonna inconvenience him. I'm not gonna point, sorry about that. You're gonna inconvenience him for maybe hours because he couldn't get his RV out to wax it or to get a gas in it or something like that. You stood up, you called him over, you said Joe Walker will be out there to take care of you tomorrow because you and your service department was going to inconvenience him for hours. But you're going to inconvenience somebody for life. You didn't say, hey, let me talk to you. Let me explain to you. You didn't, you offered her nothing. So your residents should know that. Your residents should know what you're thinking. Mr. Kaminsky, the first meeting we came here, after the meeting, you came running in the back with some kind of 2005 or some paperwork. This is real. Brunswick wants this. I don't know about this and that. Got a hold of my wife and she entertained you. I told her not to. Okay, then you entertained her via email. Okay, and she fact-checked all your stuff. All your information you had was wrong. Okay, she did fact-check it.
It's not wrong.
Okay, it was
First
wrong.
of all, it's not wrong.
It was
And
wrong.
It came from the
My 5
Brunswick
minutes.
site.
This is my 5 minutes.
You had an online survey.
This is my 5 minutes?
You had an online survey. Well,
Do I get
if
this
you're
time
gonna
back?
accuse me of something,
Okay.
I'm gonna counter.
Well, no, what I'm going to accuse you of is you decided to end the conversation was you're a troublemaker. That's professional. To call somebody a troublemaker, that's professional. And I read that. And you got to realize, okay, my wife is a second-generation Italian. I'm not stereotyping anybody. She grew up with 3 generations in her family. She's passionate. She talks from here, she talks with these, and she talks loud. But she gets her facts right. And to call her a troublemaker, I think that's very unprofessional for a council person.
First of
Very
all,
unprofessional.
you can read my email. I didn't call her a troublemaker. Read my email.
Okay, I read
directly.
your email.
All right. No,
Okay.
read it.
Okay.
Print it and
Well,
read it.
thanks, don't take any more time. Ms. Rolfe, how you doing?
Okay.
And here's my observation. Well, obviously, you know, we've all been getting together, Strongsville, Brunswick, talking about this. We're standing at somewhere, I don't have social media, but this is where this is derived from. This older gentleman comes up and he's wanting to know what's going on, and he's talking, and he said he reached out to his council person, couldn't remember her name. I said, where do you live? He lives on Howe Road. He's concerned, he's older. He doesn't know what's going on, he doesn't know what's happening to traffic, if he's gonna lose his house, he doesn't know what's going on. He said he reached out to his council person. I don't know. He didn't tell you my name, but he says you live on Howe Road. Okay? He said you told him you didn't know what's going on, they keep you in the dark. Okay? They keep you in the dark. Well, you're a council person. Well, somebody standing next to me who gets on Facebook and stuff, they put your name in, got your Facebook page. House Bill 23 is going to be signed by Governor DeWine. Hey, we're going to have a party. So you must have known something's going on, but your residents should know that you're not sticking up for them, you're not supporting them, you're not offering them any information.
I offered him the same information that I offered on my Facebook.
On your Facebook page? Yeah, that you're
Yes.
happy that it's going through and
I said I was excited to see.
but you're in the
there's
dark.
some
You
development.
actually told somebody you were in the dark. You're kind
With
of
some-
agreeing with me.
with the study I have,
You're kind of agreeing with me. You told one of your residents you're in the dark. Okay.
the
Mr.
study was
Carbone, how
not
you doing?
provided to us until last week, the same study that I
Observation.
put
This is
out.
just an observation. You reached out to us when this all started. Appreciate that. We're talking to you. About halfway through the conversation, if I owned a used car dealership on Brook Park Road, you're the guy. I want you selling those cars because you'll sell a lot of them. You'll make me a lot of money. Okay, because you're trying to sell it. You told us, you know what, this interchange, I'm for it. You did say you're for it. Okay, but you said we won't even notice it. You won't put some trees up there? You won't even see this thing. Okay, did you see the plans that came out with the first study? How those things are crazy. There's no way.
5 minutes, Mr. Carbone?
Okay, thank you.
Correct.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. I had a few more, but that's all right. It was about,
Ms. Helderman? Ms. Rose Helderman?
I'm back. Rose Helderman, Helderman. 15604 Boston Road. I am a Strongsville resident. I received the study. Thank you, Ian. I read the study, and, well, it looks like if this ramp goes through, Strongsville isn't going to be, as the gentleman over here said, a family-friendly town for me anymore, because I'll be gone. I've talked to eminent domain attorneys, and I'm going to get fair market value for my house, which isn't really in today's market going to give me enough in order to relocate. We've worked hard. We've scraped pennies to afford to be in Strongsville. And now you're telling me that the city that I chose to live in doesn't want me anymore. I'd like to know what Mayor Persiak and the rest of you are going to do to help compensate me, because we are going to be retiring, and we're probably going to have to continue working, because we're not going to be able to afford to go where we are. I don't want it. I commute every day to the Midtown neighborhood on Euclid, on the east side of Cleveland. It takes me 30 to 35 minutes to get to work. It takes me 40 to 45 minutes to get home. I just don't see that that's an unreasonable amount of time to commute to work every day. I realize that your intersection has a lot of traffic, and I believe that the report said that your traffic problem is rated an F. But I don't believe that this ramp
is going to elevate it to an A. And as a former teacher, that's what I would expect if you're going to displace families from their homes, that it should be an A+, at least a B+, but an F is still failing. We need to really look at this better. And I thought the feasibility study would be looking at other locations besides just Boston Road. Why are we the target? And I also was told that it's a 10-year plan, which would have been good for me, because we would be closer to retirement and maybe have our house paid off, and maybe we could find something really small out in the country where I wouldn't have to worry about commuting back and forth to work. But through the grapevine, Mr. Carbone, it was told to me that you said this is a 5-year plan now. So now I'm really concerned. What is the city of Strongsville going to do for me and for the other people that are going to be displaced? Because you're the ones pushing this. Brunswick has been to my home. I haven't seen anybody from Strongsville. Brunswick was there again today. They care. That's how I'm feeling. If I'm moving, I'm going to Brunswick, because I don't feel Strongsville cares. Also, with this interchange comes the widening of Boston Road. Ms. Ruff, you said, when I asked, why aren't we widening Howe Road? We don't have the money. Well, how are you going to have the money to widen Boston Road? I'm sure that ODOT's just going to put in ramps. You're going to have to do the rest, or should I say, we, the taxpayers, are going to have to do the rest. In some respects, I'm kind of glad I'm leaving, because I don't want my taxes to go up. And that's what I think this city's in store for. Higher taxes, more costs. You're going to need better police, more police. You're going to need all kinds of more accidents down at Boston Road. I can just visualize it in 30 years. I remember when I was in marching band in high school, I would come to Strongsville, and I thought, boy, I'm out in the country, growing up in Fairview Park. 2-lane roads on Royalton, 2-lane roads on Pearl Road. Look what's happened. I see that in the future for Boston Road, and I feel sorry for my Boston Road community, because it is a community. It's a nice, lovely place to live, and that's all going to get destroyed. And I just really wish that you'd rethink what you're doing. Thank you.
Ms. Kathy Yeoman?
Name's Kathy Yeoman, Y-O-H-M-A-N.
Get a little closer.
I live on Boston Road, and I do not like what's going on with it, all the things that I've been hearing and seeing. And I oppose the Boston Road exchange. And I agree with whatever the other people have said, that all these things that are gonna happen to it are gonna cause a lot of friction and a lot of problems right there. But I oppose it very much.
Ms. Mary Jean Cooley?
Hello, my name is Mary Jean Cooley. I live at 3495 Abington Court, Brunswick. I'm here to let you know I strongly oppose the Boston Road interchange.
Mrs. Kellums?
I'm Sharia Kellums, Kellums, 3450 Boston Road in Brunswick. These plans are extremely invasive. They're very invasive. Even the smallest one is going to take many houses because of that pipeline that we have. Then you've got, I feel bad for the people that are in Strongsville. They have nobody. You guys just, it's like you don't care about them. You know, we're going to destroy the south side of Strongsville and the north side of Brunswick. We just won't have it. These, if you would have put it on Howe Road, you would have maybe lost 2 homes. These are many, many homes that are gonna be gone, absolutely gone. You have a bunch of people that are either retired already or are retiring. Where are they going to go? I just wanna know where you think they're gonna go. They're gonna have to work forever? This is just absolutely ridiculous, these plans. We know what these plans are for. We know what you guys want to do on Boston Road. You want to open up your and make your industrial parkway. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to make that a truck route. That it is so, I looked at those pictures, I have examined them. The roads are so wide. I'm not going to have a house. There's not going to be any houses on Boston Road. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Thank you.
Ms. Tracy Graham?
Tracy Graham, Graham, 19211 Timber Creek Circle, Strongsville, Ward 2. I'm not sure I can say much more than I did last time I was up here. My heart breaks for you. You summed it all up right there. Everyone should have been at your door telling you what was going to happen ahead of time. You shouldn't have found out through surveys or anything. They know.
I can't. Ma'am, we can't hear. Thank you so much.
As far as Boston Road, I mean, obviously, I'm opposed to it. We're going to do everything we can to put a wrench in whatever you guys have planned. If we can't stop it, can anyone here guarantee that it's not going to turn into 303 or 82? I didn't move to Strongsville to be next to 82 or 303. You're my councilwoman. Will you support us and stop?
I would stand behind you guys, with you guys, with something that was going to turn into or look like 82 or 303. I don't think it's the appropriate place for that kind of lanes, traffic. I would definitely stand behind you and be on that side with you.
Thank you.
If it was something that was going to turn into that.
That's our fear.
And I'm saying that on record in front of everybody. It's not something that I would vote for. It's not something I would entertain.
It would be nice to hear the mayor say that.
It's not supposed to be that way, and I agree with Ann. We don't want an 82 or a 42 on Boston Road. And at the end of the day, you know, someone keeps talking about truck traffic and everything else. I am not an engineer. But at the end, when we had preliminary discussions, and nothing more than preliminary discussions, there is nothing being discussed other than the area right there at Boston, and as it comes down and goes a little east and a little west. There has never been a discussion about extending Boston Road to Pearl or to the business park and making it 4 or 5 lanes. Nothing like that has even been considered and won't be considered. And at the end of the day, this is all going to be federal or state dollars. We'll pay for studies, but it's not going to be an assessment against the residents or anything like that matter. Otherwise, we would be opposed to this. Now, are we going to have to pay some parts of this? Yes, but we're not going to assess our residents. We don't do that now with our roads. And we wouldn't. You live a few blocks away from me.
I do.
And why would anybody want that on Boston? I don't want it there either, because it'll be coming up and down Saratoga.
I agree with you.
So I understand what you're saying, and I understand what these people are saying, but the purpose of this study is to either figure out what to do at Boston or an alternative site.
I understand that.
And it's clear. And I can't give you those answers. Neither can Ann or any of these people up there on council.
I just want to make sure that she's fighting in case it does happen.
Yeah, but trust me.
I didn't think
if
that
I
you
knew
would want
that.
it. I wouldn't say you would want it.
No.
But then again, if you retire, you can move to Florida.
Well, I'm not going to do that either.
Well, I hope not.
If I go anywhere, it'll be Aruba.
No, you're staying here. Thank you very much.
Mr. Buckley Wilford?
Here again. My name's Buckley Wilford, W-I-L-F-O-R-D. I live at 18583 Benbow Road, Strongsville, Ohio. And have a few things to say. Is if you drive by our area, almost every house is opposed to it, has a sign out front. There's hundreds of a petition that's going on now. The website and things that they're gathering is gathering way more momentum. I think tonight's a few more people. I bet the next meeting, the place will be packed. And it's going to get worse and worse as this goes on. As a resident, I do not feel represented whatsoever for my ward. And maybe a 30342 you'll stop at, but what about stop at what we don't want? We don't want this interchange at all, and we're not feeling supported at all. And I saw the Facebook comment too from March saying, make sure you call Governor DeWine and tell him, don't veto this bill, we want this thing. To me, this is as shady as it gets. I was a Green Beret in the Army for 20 years. I was in the Rangers. I was all over the place, and I know what shadiness is. I've seen shadiness through and through with political stuff. This was a politically shady thing to sign this into a law, and we do not feel represented whatsoever by our own city that should be supporting us. It's a shame and a lousy thing that the city next door to us, Brunswick, is in against this, is doing what they're doing, is standing up, and here we are trying to fight our own council members to get some type of a thing saying, you know what, we're here for you. We're going to support you. What the residents want, we will represent you, support you. We feel that zero. We don't feel any representation against this whatsoever. I don't see anybody here for the interchange whatsoever. I see a whole lot of people here against the interchange. I looked at the little survey for 1A, and I noticed it said, are there any resident issues? None aware. That's what it said. I think we're paying these guys over $300,000 for them to say none aware resident issues. It's been an issue ever since they started it. Then I saw in there it said wetlands, none. Right there at Boston and Benbow is a giant swamp. It may not always have water in it, but you can see the cattails, all the stuff going on there. It's been a swamp. I've been there since 1973 when I was born. It's always been a swamp, always been a wetland. So I can see that even this study seems to be very skewed from my perspective. I might be very wrong. I may be wrong, but I'm just saying this is what my perception is of this whole situation, and I'm very disappointed. And I'd rather not come here. You know, I like you guys. I vote for you guys. I love my city. I'm never going to move this city. I plan on being here till the day that I die, but I am very upset with it. I just wanted to share these things with you. Thank you.
Mr. Jeff Molden?
Jeff Molden, M-O-U-L-D-E-N, 3218 Hartwick Circle in Brunswick. So, Mayor Persiak.
Wade Farm.
Wade Farms. Okay. You just said that you have never considered plans to extend that past, a little bit past Boston to the east and a little bit to the west, correct?
What I said is we want to be certain that it won't go beyond and become a truck route because that has never even been discussed at this point. And I don't believe it will ever be discussed because, as you know, part of that road is ours and part of that road is Medina County. And that would have to be through Brunswick all the way and through Strongsville all the way.
Understand.
We can't even agree as to what the speed limit should be on either side of the road.
No, I understand.
So, you know, when our police officers pull people over, you know, they say, well, I'm not speeding. And the police officer says to them, you know what? It doesn't matter what side of the road you're on, you're still over the speed limit. So this is where we're at with that. And again, please understand, please, please, please. They right now are looking not only for an interchange, and if that is not the answer, what is an alternative answer? And someone mentioned something about the governor. The governor has made it crystal clear that this has to be a project that both sides will work on together. I heard it from his mouth to my ears, and he was very clear. So don't blame the governor. He's been very, very saying this must be remediated and it is a safety issue. That is what his position is, and that's what our position is.
Okay, that's fine. I just, I was thinking back and I remembered something that I read at one point. So November 28th, 2012, Debbie Palmer from the Patch staff, I have the article pulled up. You were quoted, "We are looking for grant money very aggressively," Mayor Tom Persiak said. "Once we extend that road, this will be the largest industrial park in all of Cuyahoga County."
And that is Fultz Parkway.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Down to Boston.
Well,
To Boston.
However, because of environmental impacts, which we've learned, that if it does get extended will be a cul-de-sac because of the environmental impacts, and we will not be able to exit that park out onto Boston. That is a fact.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see where that's
The
drawn
engineering
up.
plans are there, so you can come and see them
So
anytime you want.
There's no way that you can snake that around and get it to
As
Boston.
of today, no.
As of today.
And I'm
And once we have the
It's-
exit, then
it's-
maybe we can figure out a way.
If we extend Fultz Parkway, which we hope to do, but everybody's talking about, this is in a bag. Well, it's not. We have applied for an Army Corps permit for Fultz Parkway, and we have been waiting 18 months from them, and we still don't have an answer. The same thing with the
Been
environmental.
waiting 22 years to put in an exit at Boston Road.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, how can I give you an answer about what's going to happen into Boston Road when we ourselves know, and we have projected that that will be cul-de-saced off?
Okay, well, I understand, but the intent that everyone's talked about is obvious in a quote that you made in 2012. So that's the only thing I want to be clear about.
At that time, I didn't have the studies, nor did I have the knowledge from the EPA or from, at this time, the Buffalo Army Corps.
The other thing I would say is I've been doing my own little study. I think I mentioned it before. I go all the way down Boston to Pearl, all the way down to 82. I stop at Panera on my way to the highway. It's 7:12 this morning. There was no traffic, okay? So all of those people, I mean, what are they doing? Going to 303, or are they going down to Middleburg Heights to get onto the highway? I mean, because if they're not going across and down Howe Road, like you say, is, so congested, they will be coming down 82. But it's 7:12 in the morning, and that's not the only day, but today.
Please give Euthenics a chance to, they've completed study 1, part 1A. 1B is next on the platter. Once we have this information, we can discuss it with you in any public meeting that you want.
But then it might be too late.
No, what might happen is that information will not justify us to do anything, and it will have to go somewhere else. So everybody's jumping to a conclusion. That's what the studies are
I think
for.
if we all sit on our hands and wait for that to happen, we know what's going to happen, though. Okay?
I don't know.
And that's why,
Not with the
that's
public
why we're
input.
trying to be aggressive at that. The last thing I would say is I do live in Waite Farms, and we do have a pool in our development. I love that area. I've told you guys before. My 14-year-old asked me if she could take her brother and her sister to the pool. And I'm very conservative. I don't usually allow that to happen. A neighbor was going as well. But I can tell you that I would not, if this goes through, I will not let my kids walk from my house to the pool within my own neighborhood that gets hardly any traffic, because I would be scared about cars cutting through, and I will be scared about human trafficking or whatever, people doing things, because there's easy access to a highway that goes north and south all the way down to Florida. So that's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all that's signed in, Mr. President?
Pardon me?
That's all that's signed in, Mr. President?
Anybody else would like to come to the podium? Yes, sir. First and last name?
Sam Zola, 3440 Boston Road.
I didn't hear that.
Sir, you have to repeat
Speak into the
I'm
mic.
sorry, sir, I have to, for the transcription, could you just kindly go slower a little bit, please?
Sam Mazzola, Mazzola, 3440 Boston Road.
Thank you.
So I heard a few things. Now, I know nobody would care about this, but for the last 3 months, I've been going to a nursing home. My dad and mom are there. Working all day, paying taxes. I've lived there for 42 years. Now, all this is a bunch of crap. I heard today that, what was it, that you were saying the business. Haven't you built it up enough? Your residents can't stand it. And you want to build more and more and more. And blame it on Boston. Brunswick. I know you said your survey's not there. How many cars have Medina plates on it on 82? Anybody take that survey? Because Medina, that would be Brunswick. Would you ever think of timing your lights better? Because I've driven that. Here's what you guys do. You have the light at Howe Road, and you have the light just before the highway as it comes out. So what do? This light turns red, this light turns green, there's no place for anybody to go. Then what they do is they jot out and stick because they want to make the next light. What happens then? The light turns green finally. A few cars go because they're on the phones, they don't go anywhere. Here, now you let the highway come out. Same principle. Do you ever think of just keeping the lights open so everybody that went through the first light got out? Even if it took an extra minute or so, the traffic always moves, it doesn't stop. Then, the vote. What good is I heard you guys putting something about it on the ballot. I know people that are down at 82 in Prospect, it was on the ballot, they turned it down. You guys found a loophole and put it through anyways. Right? Reduce the number of houses. So what do you vote on? You think the people in southern Strongsville are just like Brunswick. Like I said, the nursing home and that every day, nobody gives a shit. And I'll tell you why. Because it didn't happen to them. And this ain't happening to yous. You're in for a fight of your life. You just don't know how bad it's going to get.
Sir, did you want to come up to the podium?
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Ed Radzyminski, R-A-D-Z-Y-M-I-N-S-K-I. I live at 19 North Carpenter Road. I am the very first house on the southeast corner of the intersection of Boston and North Carpenter. There isn't any design seen in any of these plans that wouldn't consume my home. I've heard a lot tonight about safety. I've heard a lot tonight about the first step. Well, in any domino design, have you ever seen? You hit the first domino and all the other ones follow. That's what these studies are. These are domino effects. This is the first thing, that we're going to hit this and the rest are going to fall. They're going to go with it. We hear about safety. This last gentleman talked about human trafficking. I-71 corridor ranks in the top in the nation for human trafficking. Why would you want to create another possible avenue for little children and people to disappear out of this state? Why would you want to fracture your safety forces? Because now you're going to have to cover multiple exits. Fire, police. You're taking what they could do and concentrate on one area, 82, and now you have to split those forces between 82 and potentially Boston Road. It makes no sense. Why do you want to fracture your safety forces? Why do you want to fracture your EMS and your fire and rescue? Why? It makes no sense. Why are you creating another problem? We talk about facts. Between Route 82 and Boston Road, there are 12 side streets, including Drake Road. 12. 9 of those streets are from the mall to Drake Road. It's Howe Road traffic. They're Strongsville residents creating their own problem. 9 streets. They're all going into development. There are only 3 streets past Drake Road to Boston Road. 3. And guess what? They're all going into Strongsville developments. That's not Brunswick people causing the issue, causing the problems. Open your eyes, realize what's going on, quit trying to buffalo the people. They're smart, you've seen it, okay? Mr. Carbone, the last thing that I have to say to you, last time I was here, I happened to be on the news, Channel 3. My granddaughter, who lives in North Olmsted, saw me on the news, saw you, and said, Papa, why does Cool Cat Carbone want to kick you out of your house? You want to explain that to an 8-year-old? Have at it. Good night.
Anybody else for audience participation?
Hello, my name is Michelle Bolger, Bolger. I live at 376 Winchester Lane in Brunswick. Obviously, I'm against the interchange. I was not planning on speaking today. Many of my thoughts are on cleveland.com today, as we just did another article regarding our opinions. But the reason why I decided to come up here now is because we have an article from the Post on April 20th of 2013. And it looks like this is from a Councilman Duke Southworth. And specifically in here it says, one moment, let me just find it here. We have a huge stake because the whole point of the Boston Road interchange is to connect it to the Industrial Parkway. The councilman said, our stake in the Industrial Parkway is a lot bigger than Brunswick's stake. So that is definitely an article that we have found that shows proof that this is a plan to make this a connection to Fultz Parkway. Thank you.
Sherry Ham, Hamm, 15728 Boston Road. And yes, my house is one of the ones that no matter which plan it goes, we're going to lose it. My question for you, every one of you, is actually a request to put yourself in our shoes. Just like Rose had said, we've worked most of our adult life to get where we are. We are happy there. We had no intentions of moving. How would you feel? Put yourself in our shoes. How would you feel if you moved into a place that you liked that was far away from the highway? I mean, as far as ramps and stuff. And somebody came through and said to you, you know what? You're out of here. We don't care. You have no say whatsoever. We're taking your house. We're going to give you money that you can't get a replacement house for it. Okay? And then we're going to we're not going to let you have any say in it whatsoever. There's a reason that these ramps were not built for over 50 years. This is a residential area. Do you want ramps going through your development that you live in? I'm sure you wouldn't sit there and take that lightly. I mean, you'd be out fighting tooth and nail. This is a residential area. I just don't understand why you would put ramps in a residential area. It's just there's so much in safety. The only good thing we have is after being kicked out and having higher interest rates for our mortgage, because we obviously got the lower ones when they did it, and we were not going to get that rate anymore. The only blessing is that we are not going to be on Boston Road. So we're not going to have to deal with all that stuff. But those poor people that are left behind that have no say in this happening, they are going to. But I just want you to imagine ramps going through your development, around your children and their safety. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anybody else for audience participation?
Hi, Cindy Meadows, 3896 Boston Road. Obviously, I oppose. But I wanted to bring up that some people are under the impression that this project is years and years away. And I read an article in cleveland.com today that says state officials have indicated that the interchange project is expected between 2025 and 2030. So it could start as early as 2025. Just wanted everybody to know that. Thank you.
Anybody else for audience participation? Okay, we will go to resolutions, ordinances and resolutions.